My kids are watching in the background.
Daddy's doing his video stuff, you know. The kids are fascinated by it.
Alright, why is that not streaming? Oh, darn it.
It's popped on my in the group.
We are live now, so give me just 1 second, guys. I want to make sure that it's streaming. I'm getting likes across the screen, so that's a good thing. I think we're moving. Give me just a second here, guys. I'm finishing up some stuff. Told you 7, so I want to make sure we were live at 7 o'clock. Is the video moving? Let me see some comments here. I'm not sure if it's moving on there or not. Somebody let me know if the video's moving okay. It's not moving on my end very well. Nick says we're on. Alright, we're good. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So this is our first installment of Green Industry Raw and Uncut. This is a show where we're going to kind of interview somebody from around the globe. This week we've got John Ryan from Ireland. He's a YouTuber, a father. We'll put father first because that's always a big deal. YouTuber. He has John Ryan Property Services over there, so he all kinds of different things that he offers. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him in and let's hear what he has to say. So, John, you are now live in the video with me. So, John, thank you very much, first of all, for joining me on the first show here. I know it's midnight over there. It's late. That's tough. So we'll make it short and sweet for you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, John?
Well, I'm just the same as most other guys in this lawn care community that is worldwide. It's a very interesting thing, being able to identify yourself as something so much more bigger than whenever years ago we were working for ourselves. We might be out in a truck or a van or our work vehicle. I'm working solo, so I'm a solo operator. I've got my property services. I offer a number of different services from lawn care, grass, hedge cutting, flower bed maintenance and all that kind of stuff, down to a bit of tree work, bit of stump grinding, and then pressure washing and window cleaning, kind of anything to do with the external aspects of a property, kind of given that's kind of like where our focus is on the business. But what's interesting about it is that being able to identify myself as part of something that's so much more bigger. Years ago, I'd be out working on my own and I'd feel pretty isolated. So now it's quite a prideful thing that while I could go on and talk to you guys about all the different aspects of what about me and my business, it's quite a unique thing to be able to say, we're having this live stream here now, and being able to have that commonality, regardless of borders or countries or where we are in the world. So I'm just the same as any other guy, just on this side of the planet. And I suppose that's more or less kind of more or less it. It's kind of like I haven't rehearsed this, so it's kind of like trying to think to myself, how do I answer that question? But I think just Joe Blogs offering property services, and definitely a bit of a lawn care nut.
Cool, man. Very, very cool. So obviously you, I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think, across the globe we're about the same, possibly close. So how is the lawn care different for you, the property services, everything over there different for you from what you see over here in the United States on the lawn care pages or anything like that?
I think the first thing that would stand out as noticeably different is the size of the yards that you guys are cutting. For the average lawn care guy here who's doing a lot of residential work, the lawns that we do are generally quite small by comparison. Probably the reason for this is because between Ireland, Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK, it is a densely populated country. So if you think of if you're looking at the country on a map, it is a small country by comparison to a lot of other countries throughout the world. But it's like squeezing a load of sardines into a tin. Now then you multiply that by the amount of lawn care service providers, and you get, the same with window cleaners and pressure washers. There's a lot of guys in those industries. So the first thing I would say is that we notice the size of the yards and the size of the equipment that you guys would run. Here, it's a much more competitive kind of industry. If you're to be at the level of using zero turns and large garden machinery, you're talking about being into mega bucks. You're talking about a very, very cutthroat competitive market that is very hard. Excuse me. It's very hard to crack into. So for the most part, you'll find that the majority of residential lawn care service providers are small one-man, maybe a couple of men teams that are on the road. But I would say size is definitely the first thing that you'd notice that is different. And given that size then between the size of lawns, the size of machinery we're using a lot more push mowers over here. Those are probably the quickest first things off the top of my mind, in terms of the difference between what you guys have and what we've got here as a noticeable difference at face value.
Yeah, what brands are you guys running over there? What's big? I mean, I know you've got your brands I've seen on your YouTube that you're pretty faithful to. Are there any other real big ones over there? Because we've got our Echo and we've got our Steel and we've got our Wright mowers and we've got our X-Mark, what's big for you guys?
Yeah, the big names in the big brands are over here as well. We do have Echo, we've got Steel, we've got Husqvarna's, we've got Shindawas, we've got Tanakas. There's a whole range. The brands that I'm using are maybe a little bit less known, but they're the two-stroke machinery that I used is a brand called Oleomac. This is an Italian company that was kind of established back in '72. They have a long-standing kind of name here in the down in the Republic of Ireland, and they're kind of just getting their name out there more in Northern Ireland. As far as mowers that I'm using, I use a large tractor mower, that ride-on lawnmower, which would be an Oleomac as well. But generally what you'll find with a lot of the tractor mowers here is that they're all manufactured, or majority of them are manufactured in, say maybe a central manufacturing plant in Europe. Generally it's going to be somewhere in Austria. And then they kind of just pump out different moldings, but the general chassis, the engine, all of that stuff is kind of the same across the board. But when you get into the commercial gear stuff, there are companies that sell the higher end stuff. We've got companies that sell Walker motors. We've got companies that sell they sell Ferris. We've got Toro. We've got just trying to think off the top of my head. Bigger companies. We've got Iseki, Viking. All those big names. We don't really see Exmark over here. I haven't seen it. I've been following the YouTube lawn care community pretty much since it started a couple of years back, and I haven't come across the Exmark here yet. But the way some of these companies are introducing these machines, they do seem to be kind of slowly getting a foothold into the market over here. Anyway,
Sure. You got what is it? Is it WeBang? That's the
yes,
mowers you use?
I've got my lawnmowers, just my push mowers that I use is WeBang. It's actually a Chinese company, and generally, most people would kind of associate straight off, it must be a cheap Chinese kind of manufacturing company. This is the only company in China, the only lawnmower company in China that is authorized to use Honda engines that are imported from Japan over into China for these mowers. They're really, really strong and robust, and they're not really been around that long here, but they're kind of starting to really pick up. And what you'll find is that in dealers across Ireland, particularly at the moment, north and south of the border, is that WeBang are actually kind of fast becoming one of the most popular brands in dealerships that people are buying. I know guys who are taking tests, like a demo model out to use for a day or so, and they're coming back and saying, right, order me 2-3 of these lawnmowers for their crews to go out on the road. They're not coming with, by comparison to other brands of lawnmowers that a lot of company or small businesses would have used before. They're a bit more robust. They've got thicker cables on it, steel decks, alloy decks, bumper guards, nylon wheels on on the cheaper models. Then they've got alloy wheels with rubber tires like the Hondas. So they're kind of an up and coming brand that's given a run for its money against the bigger names that are in the industry. And so they're kind of they're finding their feet anyway. That's for sure. In this side of the world.
And they've got now there are no rear wheels on those, right? It's basically just a large striping wheel across the back.
Well, that's the one that I posted a picture of yesterday in the group. That was the roller mower. Then I have another model. So that one there has a 24-inch deck with a 22-inch blade underneath. But yeah, it's got the two wheels at the front and then a roller mower at the back. It's kind of based on a version of a lawnmower that would be used for giving defined stripes on a small lawn. Now I have that one there particularly for more high-end customers that are looking for that fine finish. Here, a lot of people aren't too fussed. They don't want to pay too much for like a fantastic looking lawn. They want the grass cut nice, neat and tidy, get it done, get on to the next one and get it done as cheap as possible. So it's kind of a competitive market. So for those lawns then that I'm not doing the high-end detailing, I use another mower which has got 4 wheels. It's a shaft-driven mower, so it's run on a 196cc engine. I've got an alloy deck on it. It's got the alloy wheels with the rubber tires. I've got a blade clutch system on it as well, so that the engine is disengaged, the blade is disengaged when I take my hand off it, but the engine is still running, which gives me the drive mechanism on the mower if I'm pushing it up a hill, or we get driveways here that are full of stones, and so obviously you wouldn't run your blades over stones,
right.
Fire out a stone, hit a car. Yeah.
Nobody wants
so
that.
It kind of works. Yeah. So.
All right, cool. And you got that's something I've never seen before, and we may have them over here. I've just never personally seen them. He's got a video. By the way, guys, John is on YouTube. He's got 2,000. You know the number.
Yeah, I think it's
subscribers.
2,050 odd subscribers.
Now, is that back to the first thing before we get more into the YouTube? But he's got a hover mower. This thing, I see him mowing, steep inclines. That over here we would string trim every single one of those. He's just floating this thing over the hill, getting it done. So let's hear about that, man. That's something I've never seen. That's for sure.
Yeah, they've been around for quite some time here, in this side of the world. It's referred to, the brand is Flymo. So I don't know whether, well, if you've not really seen a petrol hover mower, you've probably never seen the electric one. So they've got a lot of domestic version of hover mowers here that would be quite popular with people, but you're running, electric cables out from the house to cut the grass. But then this one that I have would be more of a commercial grade one that's able to use out on the job. And it's really, really handy because we've got such a wet climate here. If you're cutting grass in the October, November, and we're getting a lot of rain, if you're running your mowers out, you're running the mucky tracks from the wheels on the grass, which isn't exactly overly attractive to a customer. So the likes of the hover mower is very practical for it. Just even regardless of whether it's wet or not, it will cut the grass nicely without leaving any trace that there was a lawnmower on the surface. And then for the likes of the video that you saw, which I was using it on a bank, so that there was where I was strimming a fair bit, wherever I could on that property. I was strimming up toward the top of the bank, but that kind of top ridge then was easier to just, because the length of the grass that was on there. The Flymo lawnmower was far more easier to use at a nice, comfortable way of just kind of constantly, moving my hand back and forth. What you'll actually even find is that there's, on larger bank areas, there's people who will use that thing with a rope tied onto the handle to keep the blade going and drop it down the bank and pull it back up again.
It happens here too, man, with a regular lawnmower. So
it's like, any way that can be found to cut grass, will always be found. So those lawnmowers can be popular for some people to do that as well. But yeah, they've been around for quite some time. But what's interesting as well, I think I was saying to you just before we went live, is that mower, they have Toro have their own version of a hover mower as well. I think, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Mo's Lawn and Iron on YouTube.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, my man Mo, he found a picture where they actually had the Toro hover mower. So after he saw my video maybe a year or so ago, he had we'd be in touch every now and then, and he was telling me that he found that the Toro brand had come out with their own version, but it doesn't seem to be overly well known just yet, or maybe it hasn't really been marketed much over in the States. But they've brought it out here as a contender or competitor brand and alternative choice to these Flymo hover mowers as well.
Great, man. It's a crazy thing. You guys got to check out that video. So now back to your YouTube. The way that I search it, John Ryan 1 is going to pull up. If you're in the search bar on YouTube, it will pull it up. I'm going to post a link on this video as soon as we're done and everything to all your social channels. But how big is YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and what do you guys? Is it big over there? I mean. It's starting to find its feet a lot more over here. There's a couple of channels that kind of started out a couple of years ago, back whenever the first kind of lawn care channels, just after Geek Freak, after Greg kind of started up his channel, and the others started following. You had your Top Notch Nailer, B&B Lawn Care, all the usual suspects, if you want. Whenever they start. Yeah, there was myself and another guy called Curtis, who's also on this group as well. He's got a channel, UK Lawn Care. I think we were kind of the first two to start up a YouTube channel here for the lawn care side of things. And now what we're finding is that, as with anything in our culture over here,
generally whatever starts to take a trend in the States takes a couple of years really to kind of filter its way into kind of acceptable society, mindset, if you want. So we're noticing now that there's a lot more awareness starting to be made about the lawn care side of things in YouTube for a lot of gardeners. We're talking to people, on a regular basis who still don't even know about this lawn care movement that started all through YouTube and how it's going now. Of course, we're seeing the huge amount of influx now in group activities and groups that are popping up around the place, and people are connecting on such a large scale. But on this side here, like I said, we're kind of a little bit slower to it, so we're gradually getting more and more. And we've been watching you guys attend the GIE for the last couple of years, and seeing how that's grown, and we've seen the way your industry now has the likes of Echo, particularly, really going all out to engage with the industry through the social media platforms. Because what's really interesting about that is just how much it's showing that the old forms of the industry and the culture that was there of, if you wanted to find out something new about a product or information, you had to go to your local dealer, you had to read an article, you had to go and search for some big long written article to find out the information. Whereas now, brands are starting to recognize, or manufacturers are starting to recognize, that what's happened here on social media is a massive movement, and the engagement is direct. And I mean, look, we're not exchanging a conversation through text for a couple of people spend a couple of hours following through. We're going through here on video. This is fast, paced information. So we're noticing that a lot of guys are starting to watch this more and more. And as that awareness is growing, we're trying to organize something now for next year. There was a bit of a meetup at an event that we have in the UK. So in England, in Birmingham, there's a kind of a grounds and turf maintenance exhibition for the likes of Skag and your, Skag Toros and John Deere, all the big names still, Husqvarna's, all the other brand names as well, turn up showcasing the latest information on their products. But it's on a much smaller scale by comparison to the GIE. So we've got that we're trying to make our GIE, if you want. 2 years ago, there was 5 people turned up to it, which is really interesting because, whenever the first meetup was done at the GIE, I think there was only about 4, wasn't there? There was Greg Chisholm, Tennessee Lawn Care, there was... oh grief, I'm forgotten the other 2 off the top of my head. But that sounds so bad. It's I do remember.
It wasn't big at first. And what is this event called? I believe you told me it's Saltex?
Yeah. So it's referred to as Saltex. There's an institute of groundsmen that they have, so it's the IOG Saltex, but the exhibition itself is referred to as Saltex. It was just over there on the 1st and 2nd of November. So I've been in talks personally myself with the actual event organizers to see if we can work with a couple of channels that have got the lawn care side of things going here. If we can try and raise awareness a bit more about the social media aspect of what's going on with the guys on the ground. And they're quite interested in having kind of continuing on that conversation to see if we can raise awareness about the exhibition itself, but also to see if they're able to help us raise the awareness about what's going on within social media and lawn care and guys on the ground, like I say. So we're a year away from the next exhibition, which is the 31st of October 2018 and the 1st of November. But already, where we had 4 or 5 guys 2 years ago, I think this year they had a meetup of about 16 guys, which again, it's not too dissimilar from what was happening with the GIE meetups. So we're trying to get this going, and by next year we've already got loads of people we've been talking to, and I say we, I'm talking about the other YouTubers that are within the UK lawn care area for lawn care. to be talking to each other, to see whether we can encourage people on Instagram to come down for a meetup and kind of make it our event as well. So, we're kind of, you guys are, what's the word, blazing the trail for us. You're leading the way. And it's kind of, it is very exciting. If you think about what I said back at the beginning of the live stream here, I was saying about how very isolated it was years ago.
Right.
But seeing all of you guys are interacting with one another, how YouTube has brought that kind of passion and flair for the industry, that has definitely found its way over here. And we're just at an earlier stage than you guys, but I have no doubt within 10 years' time it will be massive the way it's going already.
That's good, man. That's really good. So, YouTube, you're big. Obviously, that's pretty big for over there. From what you're talking, 2,000 subscribers would be pretty decent for your area.
Yeah.
I do know there's a lot of subscribers you have from America too that like your videos. So when I said that I was bringing you on the show, everybody's like, "Oh, John Ryan's a great guy, man. We watch his videos." So has YouTube? Does that help you progress your business over there? I mean, do you use it as a form of advertisement for your business? Do customers see it, or are you just marketing that towards, the YouTube aspect of it?
Funny you say that. For me personally, over the course of the last year, starting YouTube was a bit of a hobby. But the more that I was being influenced, if you want, by the positivity and the passion that people were kind of injecting into this community, the more I was getting fired up about what I was doing. So now, about a year ago, I kind of decided, right, I'm going to start breaking the rules a bit for myself, where I'm going to start mixing business with pleasure. You have this hobby that's not necessarily a business strategy, but I'm starting to talk about it. I'm starting to use it. So whenever I post on Instagram, I could be posting pictures about, videos that I'm making, or the camera on a tripod at a customer's property that they were happy enough for me to film and make a video for YouTube. So now at this point now, where I am with the business, YouTube is very much part of my marketing strategy, because again, if you think about it, just like where we're behind the ball game a bit compared to the States, I'm probably the first person within lawn care using my YouTube fun channel to market my business for offering a lawn care service. So, I sent you through a link for and I think I shared it on the group as well, where I was on the ride-on tractor mower, and I had 3 different camera angles on it.
Yeah.
I had the customer inside the property, in the kitchen with her kids and her husband, while this drone was flying, and I was out doing my camera bits, and they were making sure the kids didn't come out, because they were all really interested in this totally different approach to cutting grass. It's like, wow, I've never seen somebody passionate about cutting grass,
Do they subscribe to you on YouTube then?
I take that as an example. Sorry, go ahead.
Does that customer subscribe to you on YouTube?
Yeah. So now I got driving. Yeah.
That's good, man.
So now I've got to be careful that I'm ultra professional in my videos. If I refer to customers.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, just so you guys know too, the video we're doing, there is some lag here. We know that. So if you guys want to ask some questions, I'm going to throw that out now, because we got about another 10 minutes or so to do this. So I'm going to be watching my phone down here just so everybody knows, so that I can see the comments. So, is there any other social channel that's big there that you use for your business? I mean, obviously Facebook is worldwide. That's probably the biggest, I would imagine. Is there anything else you guys use? I mean, we have Google here, that's where, our customers find us, search engine, stuff like that. What helps you grow your business the most?
Yeah, well, certainly the modern digital, kind of culture that is global now. Facebook is definitely the new digital word of mouth. Local groups in your town. There's a group in my town here, which is kind of more dedicated to mothers. where they might ask other mothers for advice about kids and stuff. And that group, I think, had about maybe 20,000 members on that group. And it started to evolve into other things where then they were looking for recommendations for lawn care, for service providers, whether it was painters, decorators, whatever it was. So now you had this culture, instead of people waiting to go and speak to the neighbour and have a cup of coffee, and maybe the lawn care guy might come up in conversation, now you've got this direct thing that's going on in groups where your name is being passed out. So having a Facebook business page, and trying to have it as professional as possible, having good reviews, good customer communication, things like that, that's definitely one aspect that's proven I'm finding is quite big in my area. But then I also have my website. I use, Google search and SEO optimization. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm having my website redesigned at the moment, and I'm integrating my videos from my channel onto my business website. Again, that's something different that you would see, nobody else is doing that with their websites. So what I'm finding is I'm getting my regular small size jobs or average size jobs through Facebook and maybe through Instagram, particularly Facebook, but Instagram and Facebook. But then on the bigger jobs, for that more professional image, because we've got so much competition in local areas, my website sets me out as different, and that gets me my more larger jobs. I've got companies, big commercial companies will get in touch with me because the appearance and how the portrayal of the company is in the image is much more recognizable as a professional service provider through those avenues. Then you've got the likes of your Google. Google would probably be the biggest one. We don't really bother too much with Yahoo or Bing or any of those other search engines. Google is just the one that's inbuilt into every phone that people buy, in the store. So you've got your Google My Business listings, where I don't know if you guys have it, where if somebody types in lawn care service on Google and page 1 will pop up with a map of your local area.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got that.
Yeah, same thing
and
over here.
Yeah, so we've got those things, and like I said, for me personally, I'm trying to start to use YouTube as that all around kind of marketing. So whenever I post on Instagram, whether it's about YouTube or on a job that I'm on, the results or the finish or whatever, it goes on Instagram, automatically goes up on my Facebook business page, automatically goes on my Twitter feed, and then if I'm sharing my YouTube videos, I'm sharing my links on Facebook again, trying to do it on a broad spectrum of those social media platforms of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Those would be my main go-to ones, but Snapchat has definitely proven a big one on the rise here.
Snapchat?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
We got a couple guys over here that are real big into the Snapchat. I believe Brian Ring is big into that.
Ring it.
Yeah, so trying to look down here. Give me just a moment. I'm going to look down and see if we got any questions that anybody wants to ask real fast. Well, Brian Ring is watching too. So
I saw his name pop up earlier.
So what's really the best Irish whiskey?
There's a few now. I couldn't point it down to. Let me see. I'd say I quite like there's one called Bushmills, which is made in the very top of the country. You've probably seen it in the stores over there as well. But Bushmills whiskey would be a lovely whiskey now. Oh yeah, definitely.
That's good over here too. That's definitely good over here too. So, all right. I don't think we have any questions from from viewers. Not that I see. So, unless they are just that far behind us, which very well could be. Trying to watch here to see where we're at and they're at.
Bear with me 2 seconds, because I think I saw a comment by Brian as well.
What did he say? Go ahead.
Let me see if I can find it.
Oh yeah, he said he loves Snapchat. Uh-oh, I might have lost you.
Hang on, bear with me 2 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost video.
Am I back?
Richie can't use Snapchat. I think Brian Ring wants you to come over here for GIE at some point. Yes, you're back now.
All right, good.
Read up through these real fast.
To find the comment that Brian had mentioned me a couple of times. The notification keeps on coming up on my screen, but because we're in the Messenger app, I was messing about with the setup. Sorry, man.
No, it's fine, man. It's fine. No, I appreciate it. So, no Q&As.
Yeah.
I got a giveaway I'm going to do. I might as well do a giveaway real fast, right?
May as well, yeah.
I mean, why not? Let's see here. I'll let you. Why don't you pick a random watcher? Can you see who's watching?
I can't.
Oh,
I've only got you and me on the moment, bud.
I'm gonna pick a random watcher after we're done here in the comments. I got a hat. Nothing crazy. Little hat I can give away. So we're gonna do that. Now, John, I appreciate it a ton, man. And what was your buddy's name? I don't have the message up anymore that I was talking about before the live feed here.
Which buddy was that again?
He said you are the Deuce Bigelow of lawn mowing.
Gary Chapman, yes.
Gary Chapman, yes.
He said it was watch, yeah.
He said, you know, John's got 5 kids and he still manages to get 22 yards done a day. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. So you know, and you do window washing. Obviously, you were posting about that earlier today on the lawn care world. You know, is that growing? How's that growing for you? Has that been a service that's been around for a long time in your guys' area?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like I've been doing window cleaning for about 20 years. You know, the lawn care was something that I kind of went into because the window washing was just one of the most boringest jobs you'll ever do, especially if you're doing it traditional. Yeah. Now that you've got all these water hole and, you know, filtration systems, it's a little bit more interesting.
Right.
But playing about with lawnmowers and engines and blades and things that you could kill yourself with, hey, what's not to love about that, you know? So absolutely. I was just, you know, it was just it was a natural progression for me. So the reason why I actually posted that in the group yesterday was because obviously I've been watching what's been going on. We've all watched Keith Kalfas, you know, from whenever all this whole thing started off. Absolutely. And just whenever he started into window cleaning in his videos a little bit more, I couldn't help but notice that, you know, there's a lot of lawn care guys now are starting to add that on to their services, you know, maybe in the quieter months and periods.
Yeah, it's a good service to offer. There's not a ton of investment into it. You know, it's not something that costs you a ton, and there's not a huge learning curve on it. So, you know, it's a good service to offer. That's for sure.
You know, so it's just out of curiosity to see how you guys find it over there, because I mean, I find that a lot of people can have the mindset of well, no, I'm not a window washer because I'm a lawn care guy. Or, you know, no, I'm not a lawn care guy because I'm a window cleaner. You know, whereas the way things are moving, like my business model is formed on kind of like how a property looks from the outside. So if I'm able to upsell the service of pressure washing of patioed areas or walkways or driveways or whatever, in addition to having a sharp, crisp looking lawn, well then I'm not having to go and find a new customer. I'm able to upsell a service that I provide to an existing customer. So it's not like I have to spend money on marketing. I'm already in the good books with the customer because I offer a good service on the lawns. You know, it's not like you need to do a 3-year apprenticeship to become a pressure washer, right, or a window washer. You know, so it's just out of curiosity. It was interesting to see how that information through those videos was getting out there more, and I wanted to see how people in this group how they view it. Do they see it as something as no, you know, I'm a landscape gardener. or lawn care guy, or yeah, do you know what, we offer whatever services our customers need. If there's profit to be made, does that make us a more profitable company? Does it make better business sense? Does it not? It's just interesting to see what people's views are on that, because what works for me could very well be the thing that undoes a lot of things for another business or another person.
Right, and that's the same way here. I mean, north, south, east, west. I mean, you see it on the lawn care pages. How much should I charge for this? Come on.
The hated lowballer. Everybody hates the low. That conversation.
Everybody's going to have a different price. Everybody. Plain and simple. So, all right, John, man, it's getting late. I know you're tired. So, dude, you were a rock star, man. I appreciate you coming on for our first show. Tons of information from John. When the video's done, I am going to post all of the links to your social channels on the video, so people can check those out. Let's watch those subscribers go up a little bit. So, thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors, and John.